प्यायन्तु ममाङ्गानि वाक्प्राणश्चक्षुश्रोत्रमथो बलमिन्द्रियाणि च सर्वाणि सर्वं ब्रह्मोपनिषदं माहं ब्रह्म निराकुर्यां मा ब्रह्म निराकरोत् अनिराकरणमस्तु अनिराकरणं मेस्तु तदात्मनि निरतेय उपनिषत्सु धर्मास्ते मयि सन्तु ते मयि सन्तु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। The scriptures declare that we are all actually one. Let us try to feel this. Let us feel that each of us is like an ice cube. Everything around are various ice cubes, different sizes and shapes. Let us feel that they are melting. All this separation has vanished. There is no I. There is no separate you. All is one without second, homogeneous, continuous, unbroken existence. I am this absolute oneness. Understanding this, I see that I am perfect. I have no birth, no death. I have no desire, for I am all that is. I am bliss itself. In this divine, blissful, peaceful radiance of the self, I can experience the ultimate truth spoken of by the sages. Om. Peace, peace, peace. So, dear friends, let us begin the discussion on this Svetasvatara Upanishad. Today's class, since we are meeting after a long time, and we shall do some recapitulation as well. But let us begin with our usual prayers. ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै. ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. May we be protected together. May we be nourished together. May we attain strength together. May our study make us illumined. May there be no dislike between us. Om peace, peace, peace. As you can see, this prayer takes us to that oneness. You must have noticed that a often repeated word in this is togetherness. Togetherness is a step to feeling the oneness. So, this emphasis of this Upanishad is to bring us to this truth, and when we come to this truth, all the problems that we have in life, all the doubts, they are dissolved. It is, we do not have any questions left to be answered. All answers are obtained and life becomes full of peace and bliss. So, this Upanishad actually began with this question that we all have. These questions have been discussed by those who are very much interested in the solution of that. That is called Brahmavadini, Brahmavadin. That it is Hari Om Brahmavadino Vadanti. That is how the Upanishad begins. Thus, the Brahmavadins means those who are deeply interested in the knowledge of Brahman. And that is a very special characteristic. And not all are interested in this knowledge of Brahman. There are some who are interested, some are not. In fact, most of us are not interested in it. We feel that as long as I get my livelihood, as long as I may get my sense enjoyments, and that is good enough. Very few try to dwell deep into the nature of the truth. As Bhagavad Gita mentions, that it is one amongst thousands that even looks for those things. So, therefore, you can see that only a handful of people, they try to find out the nature of the ultimate reality. So such people, they have started looking for the answers. Kim Karanam, what is the source of all this? Kim Karanam Brahma, this can be understood in various ways. Means, what is the reason of all this? Or is Brahma the reason of this, all this appearance? Kim Karanam Brahma means, is Brahman the cause? And then the next line is that Jivamakena, that is what makes us live. It is the source of our life. What do we call I, the living? It is a very intriguing question, not as simple as it appears. That what is the source of life in me? I know for sure that I am alive. There is no doubt about it. But then, is this flesh alive? Or where is that source of my life? This is a question that is even modern neurologists, they are looking for. That where is the locus of our I consciousness? So, It is, and where is the ultimate that rest for us? Where do we actually culminate? It is pratishtha, means what is our dwelling place here? It is the where we are established, our true nature that is being discussed here, and then how we get our pleasures and pain in this world. Very difficult question. How some people live happily, some people get lot of things in this world. You see, some are very healthy, wealthy, are very well connected in the society, are looked upon with lot of respect. Whereas some others, they find it difficult to get their livelihood, they are sick also, they are not very well respected in the society, and so forth. So they live in misery and pain, whereas there are some who live in happiness. Who decides who should be happy and who should not be happy? There must be somebody who decides this, who makes this decision that this fellow is happy, that fellow is not happy. It is, everybody wants to be happy, but some seem to succeed, some do not seem to succeed. What is the secret of this? Who is the one who decides that? So, and on what basis? That the connecting, you may say that this fellow did like this and therefore became happy, but again there are problems with this kind of assumption, because many have done similar things and have not become happy, and many have not done anything like that and are still happy. So there is no logic that can explain these things. Who is that who decides this? Appears to be whimsically deciding that okay, this fellow will get more happiness, that fellow will not get. So this is another question, that how all these things are going on. What are they? The parameters by which these things they get established, decided, thought, and so this is, as we had seen while discussing these verses, that this is a very important human speciality. No other creature tries to solve these questions. Human beings, they have this idea who, why, how, all these questions come to human beings. And it is, one may ask, why should there be a why for everything? And no answer to that. Somehow or other, as human beings, we assume that things happen due to a cause, for a reason. As we say here, that it is there for a reason. So what is the reason? That is, human beings ask this question because for our existence we don't find much of a reason as such. Why this universe is, we don't see any tangible reason for that. In fact, in our classes, this question gets asked many times. One of our earlier members, he passed away a few years ago, and then he used to ask this question again and again. Afterwards, he got that such question can never be answered. That is the answer to that question. But earlier he used to ask after every class. But then why this whole thing came into existence? You were saying like this, you were saying like that. And all this baloney, he would say, all this baloney, why, who made it, how did it come? And no answer to that. It is, so human beings ask this question, why, how, especially when it hits us, and then we ask this question with great intensity. Like one of our members, and she at her job she was transferred from one department to another department that she didn't want to, and then she had this question, she became very agitated, and then said, why me? Why was I transferred out of so many people? Why was I chosen to have this transfer? It is so. This is a question. Then I asked her, when out of so many you were given a promotion, did you ask this question, why me? At that time you didn't ask that question. Only when something adverse happens that you didn't want, then why me? Otherwise we don't seem to ask this question. So all these questions, then they thought of various reasons. As we think, many answers appear. But soon we find that those answers are really taking the question only a little backwards, that's all. We again have to ask the same question. So that is the second verse that you see. Put the next slide, please. This is the translation of this. Students of Brahman, they discuss this. That what is the cause? What is the, the previous slide, the translation slide. Is it Brahman? Whence are we born? Why do we live? Where is our final rest? Under whose orders are we who know the Brahman, subjected to the law of happiness and misery? And then the answers were shown. Next one. Kala svabhavo niyatir yadricha. These are the answers that we normally give. Why this happened? Well, the times have changed. Time is given as the cause. Earlier this was not happening, now why happened? Times have changed, you see. That is one of the answers, time. Or, well, that is how things naturally happen, no other. Svabhavo, niyati, that is another way. Niyati means, show the translation, next slide. Should time or nature, what happened? Oh, it went back. Okay. Should time or nature or necessity or chance or the elements be regarded as the cause? Or he who is called the Purusha, the living self? The cause cannot be the combination of these entities, since there is a living self, Atman, for whose sake the combination has been made. Yet neither is the Atman the cause, for it in turn is dependent upon good and evil. So when you think about this, all these causes come to one's mind. We are all in a way philosophers, Everybody is a philosopher. So all such answers come to us. And then we see ourselves, or somebody points out that those answers are not sufficient. And then they find out that, and that is the first important solution that one gets, that these answers are not to be found by intellectual cogitation at all. The answers are to come through meditation. There is no other way. So te dhyana yoganugata pashyan devatma shaktim swagunair nigudham yakkaranaani nikhilani tani kalatma yuktan adhitishthatieka. That practicing the method of meditation, they realize that that being who is the God of religion, the self of philosophy, and the energy of science, who exists as the self luminous power in everyone, who is the source of the intellect, emotions, and will, who is one without a second, who presides over all the causes and enumerated above, beginning with time and ending with the individual soul. It is, we have to go beyond, and then we come to the solution. We have to go out of this box. That is called meditation. Meditation is not just sitting and closing the eyes. Meditation is the effort to transcend the apparatus through which we are experiencing this world. And we are in this box called body and mind. And in that box we try to find a solution. In meditation we transcend this box. We become infinite. And thus we find a solution as well. And that is how one should do that. There is a story told that people used to discuss by logic. In the Greek, those days, they were philosophers in Greece. So everything has to be decided through logic, arguments, discuss, meetings, and so logical arguments. So it was asked that how many teeth should a horse have? Now it is, some said that, human beings have 32, horse is bigger so must be having 35. Some said that, horse doesn't need all, he must have less. So they were discussing only on the basis of logic. Then some said, what's the use? Why do we not just go to a horse, open the mouth and count? That will provide the solution. Sitting in the room and discussing, why? You will never be satisfied even if you come to some answer that no, it must be 35. But you will still have doubts. So therefore, why not just open the mouth of the horse and count? And so, go beyond this apparatus of body and mind, and you will see the solution. Te dhyana yoganugata pashyan. Meditation is the way to go about. So, this is how we saw that through meditation this realization comes, that the perception of many here, perception of this and that separate, and then the God controlling all that, those three separate entities that we take for granted, the problem lies right there in that perception itself. And so if you hold on to it, you will never find the solution. For finding the solution, therefore, you have to go beyond. It is, and thus you will see that there is no distinction as such between this various objects or I and the world. All these distinctions then one sees as fictitious. So, and how to do that? We always have been emphasizing this point that Upanishads are immensely practical. Although they are tremendously poetic as well, but they are not like the poetic flights alone. They are not, it's not emotional effervescence, but it is grounded in practical experience. So, how one can get this practical experience? The method is try to see Kshara and Akshara, that is the 8th verse that we stopped while discussing in our last class, 8th verse, that Sanyukta tat ksharam aksharam cha. These two are very beautiful words which come in many other Upanishads as well, Bhagavad Gita also in 15th chapter, even that in 13th chapter you get these two words, that Kshara and Akshara. In that Kshara means that which goes, comes and goes, keeps on changing. That is Kshara. And Akshara is something that relatively remains unchanged in that. For example, it is, I feel I am the same person who say went to India 3 weeks back and now has come back. So I went to India, I would tell that it is, and then now I am giving this class. I remember where I stopped last time and now I am picking up the thread at that point. It is, I am the same person. But if you see in 3 weeks, the body has undergone some change. Not, it is not same. A lot of food has been put in, lot of waste has been thrown out, lot of changes have happened. It is, if you see that the same person is not really there, everything changes. As they say in Vedanta, that nobody takes the swim in the same river twice, because the water has flown, so changed. So there is some aspect in what we see as I, or anything for that matter, that changes, and yet we have identification that it is the same. Somebody may say, like Naomi can tell, that I sat on the same chair last time also. Last Sunday I was sitting on the same chair. Now what is same about it? It undergoes transformation. Everything changes, and yet there is something in everything that does not change, on the basis of which we identify that it is the same thing. It is like that story goes, that a man, two people met, and then one of them said, I think I have seen you before in that mall there 2 years ago. I think we met there. The other person said, no, not, I didn't go to that mall at all, never. Then maybe I might have seen somebody who looks exactly like you. Then this other man retorted that, Or this might have happened that somebody like you might have seen somebody like me, and now that is being remembered. So that it doesn't happen, that is silly. It is not possible. That how we happen to identify is only because that there is something that we cannot specify, but we are sure that that is there, something that does not change, and that cannot be pointed out. Everything changes, and yet what is there that does not change? And we all have to accept that there is something that does not change, because on the basis of assuming that, all our life goes on. It is, you decide that, well, tomorrow I will go to some such and such place, and then you go. The one who decided, the same person has gone. It is not a different person. You take, say, loan from the bank or some friend, and then you know that you have to repay it. It is if can you go and tell that person or the bank, no, everything changes. The one who took the loan was different. Now the things have changed. And no, that will not go well with the bank. It is impossible. No commitment is possible then. Our life depends therefore on accepting something that does not change at all. Ksharam, aksharam. Something is changing, something is not changing. And then yes, the Lord supports this universe which consists of a combination of perishable and imperishable, the manifest and the unmanifest. Manifest is that which keeps on shifting and changing. Unmanifest is that which does not change. As long as the self does not know the Lord, it gets attached to worldly pleasures and is bound by that. But when it knows that Lord, Him, all fetters fall away from it. All fetters go away. Our desires are our fetters. That badhyate bhoktri bhavat, and we consider ourselves to be enjoyer. I enjoy, say, candy. I eating the candy. Now what happens? I feel I am enjoying it, but it becomes my bondage. Any object that I look upon as source of enjoyment becomes my bondage. Badhyate bhoktri bhavat. Beautiful words. See how sublime this idea is. Bhoktri bhav means the attitude that I am enjoyer, this world is to be enjoyed. This idea is the source of bondage. And when you don't see like this, how do you know that it is the source of bondage? When you don't have this attitude, you become free. That is how you know it is how A is the cause of B. There are various types of relationships in that to decide that something is the cause of something. First is that if A is not there, then the B doesn't happen. So therefore A is the cause of B. Also, it is really not sufficient just to know that if there is no A, no B. But if there is A, B has to be there. Also, there is another thing that is called concomitant relationship. It is any change in A gets reflected in corresponding change in B. And it is so. Then we decide that A and B have a causal connection. In medical science and even in other disciplines as well, there is a debate always whether something is only a marker sign or a causal sign. It was in the connection with, say, cholesterol and heart disease. And the cholesterol and heart attack, how are they related? Causally or just as a marker? That if you have high cholesterol, then you get heart attack. But it could be just a marker, like changing the milestones does not change the actual distance. So, just by reducing the cholesterol, you may not reduce the risk of heart attack, because it was just a marker and not causal. You have to show that it is a causal connection. I am giving this just as an example, don't quote me, I am no expert in that, but I am just giving gist of arguments in this matter, that it is that to certain things could be just markers. And like these, I don't know if any of you have actually seen that. I have experienced many times that when a rooster crows, then you know that it is time for the sun to rise. You can see the reddish halo on the east side, and now you know the sun is about to rise. And at that time, the rooster also lets out a big, nice sound. So, the two are connected, you know. But that doesn't have a causal relation. I mean, if there is no rooster, then sun will not rise. That is not the case. They tell a story that one lady, she owed a lot of money to some guy, and then that man said, "Okay, I am going to come tomorrow to collect all the dues. Keep it ready, otherwise I will just take away everything from your home." And then what is to be done now? She decided she has to do something so that the tomorrow wouldn't come. So that night she killed that poor rooster. Because if the rooster doesn't crow, then the sun won't rise, there won't be tomorrow, and thus I will not have to repay my debt. So, that doesn't work. So, therefore, we have to say that bhoktru bhav. How do you know that that is the cause? Because if it is not there, then there will be no bondage. That is, the desires are the bondage. The sense that I want that for my enjoyment, that is a bondage. And thus we suffer. Bondage is identical to suffering. That we suffer because we get bound. And why do we get bound? Is because we have this bhoktru bhava, the attitude of enjoyer. And this is one of my teachers told that, look, this very word enjoyment shows that you do not know the truth. You are bliss itself. The bliss is your nature and not outside anywhere. So, if you are going to get joy from something else, that means you are trying to get joy from where it is not. You will not get it. Now, Tommy is sitting here. If somebody is looking for Tommy, and say in downtown there, will not find Tommy because that fellow is looking for Tommy where Tommy is not. So, exactly if we keep on looking for joy in that where joy is not, and this will be the result, bondage and suffering. And therefore, when that is gone, but when it knows that divine, that I am perfect, there is nothing needs to be added to me to make me perfect or happy. It is then you become free. So this is to be achieved through practice. It is. What happened? Hmm? Hmm? Huh? Here it is not moving. I see. Yeah, here it is moving, but it is not moving. The VNC is not working, I think. So, okay. Yeah. So, attempting to reconnect VNC server. So, I will look here and read. And that it is Jnajnau. This is the 9th verse. Jnajnau dvau ajau ajau isha anisha anisha ajau. Ajau means the unborn, and they are always there. That is aja, means that which is unborn. अजौ हेका भोक्तृ भोग्यार्थ युक्ता अनंतश्चात्मा विश्वरूपो ह्यकर्ता त्रयं यदा विन्दते ब्रह्ममेतत्. So this is the procedure, and that knower, jna and not knower, knower and not knower. It is that which is the now it has come. So the jnadnyau dvau ajau ish anishau aja, both are unborn. Both have no beginning. That the source of knowledge, source of ignorance, both are like that. So, and both are looked for by controller and controlled. That is how Isha and Anisha, that we do not have much power. Anisha means powerless. We think that I can do so many things and I will do this, I will do that, but are not able to do it. It is because something else decides. And the other day I had booked a flight from Dublin just 3 days back, Dublin to London. Now, as all said, that people there in London said, please come and then we will receive you. Now, all that has been, I thought that I have made all foolproof arrangements, but a storm comes and the flight gets cancelled. Now the storm cannot be controlled by me, hey, stop. No, the storm will not stop. I don't have the power to stop the storm. And obviously the planes won't fly if the weather conditions are very stormy. So therefore, even in such things it is, I am powerless, what can I do? It is not possible. It is many times I have seen this happening, that one feels, oh, I will do this, but something happens and you cannot do it. It is, you are not in power there. It is many plans. One gentleman, very devoted gentleman, had many plans of doing many wonderful things. Suddenly, one day, gets a stroke and can't do anything. Impossible for that person even to lift finger. It is like that. Now, all that was, that person was saying, I can do this and I can do that and so many things. Well, provided that Isha, that Lord, wants you to do it. If Lord doesn't want you to do it, you will not be able to do it at all. Sri Ramakrishna used to give an analogy that if you put some in a pot, lot of water, and then put potatoes and tomatoes and some such things to boil. And then as the water boils, you see these tomatoes and potatoes dancing. They may think that, oh, how nicely we are dancing. And it is not their power at all, that fire is making them dance. That put out the fire and then all their dancing stops. Like that ours also, hey, I can do that, oh, I will do this. Well, if you are powered like that, then you can do it. If you are allowed by God, then you can do it. There is the one imaginary, but you can think of it, that it is an incident. The scientists, and they have done lot of work, and then they told God, oh God, you are not needed anymore. We can make life from earth. We can take some earth and then all those elements are there. We know how to combine them. In our laboratory we can create life. We don't need you. And God said, is it so? Okay, let me see how you do. So the scientist took earth. No, you are taking my earth, you see. Take your earth and then show. It is that unless God allows, we do not have any power to do anything. Our ego, it tells, I will do this, but no, you cannot. So, that vyakta and avyakta, the conscious subject and the unconscious object, the master and the dependent are both unborn. This is Purusha and Prakriti are the technical words for that. There is matter and there is the consciousness and controller of that matter. So both are together. Both are unborn, means you cannot show that on this particular day it all began. No, you cannot tell which day it began. It never really began. Can you tell at what point the dream began? Nobody can tell. What time did the dream begin? And you just dozing like that. And then suddenly a different world comes to you with different time scales. What time the dream begin? I don't know what time and how it begins. And what time it ends, that also we don't know. You wake up and that's it. But it is like that aja. This is the conscious and the unconscious. Both are without birth, without any particular beginning. So that is the meaning of aja. There is another connotation some people have tried to show it like that. Aja, there is a pun on this word according to them. Aja means also a he goat. Aja and aja means she goat. So that is how aja is. That word will again come. That aja yeka in this Upanishad, aja yeka lohita shukla krishna. So unborn is the meaning there, and not real, has nothing to do with he goat or she goat. It is, but the Sankhya philosophers, they tried to interpret it like that, because according to them the two they enter into a combination to generate the experience. Vedanta says that both of these are the expressions of the self, not that the two are different entities and combine together. Like we have some kind of that glue. Our Mihir and Abhijit, they use, many others use that glue. So you have two different glues. Independently they don't work. When you combine them, then it becomes a strong glue. So it is this conscious principle and unconscious principle both added together, and now you have this world experience. That is the explanation given by the Sankhya philosophy. Purusha and Prakriti, conscious principle and unconscious principle. But Vedanta does not support this. Vedanta says there is one reality, the self, who appears to be having these two phases, and like the conscious and the unconscious, and the conscious governs the unconscious. It is, and thus it is she too who is engaged in bringing about the relation of the enjoyer and enjoyed, or between these two, is unborn. It is the controller, the one who brings about this relation, that also is unborn. When all these three are realized as Brahman, this self becomes infinite, universal, and free from the sense of agentship. That is how one realizes the truth. It is, for example, you know that, think of when you are, say, watching a movie, that it is, you find that somebody in the movie is carving from a stone a beautiful image. You are watching that movie and the carving is going on. Now you see that stone which is being worked upon is screen. The one who is carving, that man that appears who is hitting on the stone with a chisel and a hammer, that person also is screen. And the chisel, hammer, those instruments, that also is screen. All these are just different expressions of the screen. When you see this, then the riddle just disappears, that who is going to pay this sculptor there, where did that fellow got the stone from. All these questions disappear because there is no stone, there is no craftsman who is working on it. It is all actually the one screen that is appearing like this. So one sees that it is all the expression of self, and knowing this, one becomes free from that idea of agentship, that I am the doer. This is an intricate topic about, I am the doer. Am I doer or am I not doer? It is from the point of view of the self, I am everything and there is nothing that is happening. And so no doership. The screen doesn't do anything. And the screen does not undergo any change in the whole process of that sculpture happening. The screen remained the same. After a while, another movie will be shown on this same screen. The screen did not undergo any change while the other change was being seen on it. So also the Brahman, without undergoing any change, appears like this. Knowing this, one becomes free from all bondages. Now, how to know this? Is there a path? Well, yes and no. That there is a path. There are certain things one can do to get this understanding. But there is again only a relative causal connection between our doing and getting that wisdom. The wisdom comes automatically. So we shall discuss those causes in our next class, that how this knowledge is to be obtained, what we need to do to get it. It is this topic is discussed in all Upanishads in a very similar vein. Svetasvatara Upanishad being very devotional in its nature, it brings out that idea more common. So we shall meditate for 30 seconds, and in case you have a question, you can ask it. Yes, please. Any question? Yes, Charlie.
You pointed out today that we're often powerless, but Swamiji says that weakness is a sin and strength is the goal. So how do you explain that?
Both are correct. The two different point of views. From the point of view of screen, this it is all whatever, there is no power. Whatever is written in the script, like that it will be shown on the screen. There is no power that sculptor will not be able to say, no, I am not going to do this. Well, that is written in the script. There is no choice for you. You have to do it. And yet, from the point of view of that sculptor to be that real, says, yes, I can do it. I have the capacity to do it. I will be able to do it. You have to have that confidence. That is also very important. Different standpoints are there. Like this, Chris, when I had shown him that door, that how can you, will it be all come out okay? He said it will come out as it was originally, if not better. So that confidence was there, so he could take up the work. Uh, so that is how, at that relative level, the confidence is there, has to be there. So the standpoints differ. From one standpoint, well, if God wills, it will happen. From the standpoint of, yes, I have been doing it, I know, and at that level, that confidence, yes, you are all powerful. So, in this next class, we will be discussing that spiritual practice, and we have to keep this in mind. I can do it. Otherwise, no, if the God wills, then I will do it. It is an excuse of the lazy people. It is, why do you not meditate? The God does not bring out that desire, then how can I do it? It is God who has to put in that inspiration, then I will do it. This is all the talk of lazy people. So, that should not be given this scope under this idea that every God does everything. So, yes, Chris? Svetasvatara Upanishad. There is no meaning as such, means no fixed meaning. It was name of a sage, Svetasvatara. And then it means, that word means that the person who has controlled all his senses and therefore is very pure. And Shveta means blemishless, white, without any spot on it. And then Ashwa is means our organs. So it signifies that all the impurities in the perception of that person has gone. So that is but a rather labored meaning. It is better to, in my opinion, to think that that was just the name of that great sage who gave this. That is in Upanishad itself, that verse will come later, that Svetasvatarotha Vidwan, the name of the sage who has told this Upanishad. So the name came. So let us conclude with the closing prayer. Oh, yes, Vailuko. She. That is a good question. It is a genderless thing, but since why always a masculine should be used, so therefore sometimes masculine, sometimes feminine. Also, it refers to what is called in Prakriti, and that is feminine in gender, and therefore it is said she here. Nature is always she. So therefore that word she is used, the nature or Prakriti, so that controls it. So it is she too who is engaged in the bringing about the relation of the enjoyer and the enjoyed. And that is she, and the one who brings them together. So the concluding prayers. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishnaarpanamastu. We have a spiritual retreat coming up on next Saturday, not tomorrow, the Saturday after that. And today is the last day for registering at a concessional rate. So you may be able to take advantage of it by just approaching Naomi, or you can do it online as well. And tomorrow, it is the day for day-long meditation. So, those who are interested in doing meditation for longer times, it's a good opportunity. That we have to do it for more and more time. It is otherwise it is just 30-second meditation that I mentioned, doesn't take us very far. So immerse yourself in a long meditation. So first Saturday of every month we try to do that. So tomorrow we will have that.